Okay, so I want to start off with this throw right here from Alekna. I love, I love um, the back of his throw. It's so simple. It's so easy. He doesn't. He's like him and Harding. The back of the throw is so simple for them, and I love that. I think a lot of times coaches, they get too complicated out of the back. You don't want to. It's always like, oh, shift left and do all this stuff. It's like all you really have to focus on is just turning that hip. Um, I actually really like the Steen that who coached Cantor. He did a good video talking about how the left hip, while the foot's turning, the left hip should essentially come come up and through instead of really dropping in onto the left. That left hip just comes up and through, and you can see it. You can see it perfectly right here, and that's why I love Alekna's technique. He does everything so well, and you can see right here how that left hip, he's not going out onto. Yeah, he's putting pressure on the left hip, but he's not going out onto the left. He's not shifting left like everyone says. Like his weight will end up on the left here. But what he does is he allows himself to get that left hip turned all the way around. So at this point, and this is something you should be looking for, is that he's stacked on that left hip, but the more important thing is that this leg is wide open to facing the left. Okay, that's what you got. That's what you really got to look for out of the back. And part of what helps him do that is getting this right leg, to drive off left here, right there. So, but that's all essentially happening at the same time, right? That's beautiful. It really is. But I want to emphasize that this movement is all happening right here in the hip. So he's obviously he's rotating on the ball, but typically you hear, oh, you gotta push off this foot onto this left. But that's not to me, that's not how it should be done. The better focus, yes, you will get over your left side, but the better way to get there is to make sure that this hip turns all the way around. As you can see, his foot comes all the way under and through, right? This can't be done. This foot coming back like this, if this hip doesn't essentially just turn around. You essentially want to focus on flipping the hip in this position right here, right there, and all the so once that hip, and also what happens is, as that hip is opening up, right, you're pulling that hip through. What's happening is that right leg is automatically being initiated. When you start to try to go out to the left, you try to go left, right? That right leg sort of it stays stuck on the ground, okay? But if you can start moving like this, you notice how watch how his right leg is automatically initiated right there, right? That makes that foot move. So he's already moving with that right though, but this left hip coming up and through is what is going to give that right, like that push that it needs to get around. And then obviously the focus is getting this right out left and getting it in front. Get that right accelerating. You don't want that thing to lay behind. Okay. So I'll show another example of this. Let's see. In real time, I really like this video right here. Okay. So I'm gonna watch the same thing. Look at that. Look at that. You can see that left hip. So what it looks like it looks like he's going left, right? But the issue is that once he's here, right? And you can see this is why he's able to be really patient with the upper body, because he's not trying to get left, okay? So what you can see is that when that hip comes all the way through, that's when he gets onto the left, okay? And then so the hip is and as the hip is coming through, that right picking up, that's what makes him get out over left, okay? So now he's nice and balanced out over there. And him being on the left allows him to get the right going out in front. But the thing is that, like, I have to stress that if you're trying to push left, then that right is going to stay stuck on the ground and is going to get behind you. You gotta just make that right leg accelerate off the ground. Okay, it's just turning this hip. It's as simple as that. And then another thing I want to point out about the back that I think is important, it's something that I struggle with in my throw, but is keeping this discus back. Look how far back he keeps this discus right here, especially through here. Look at that. That's huge. He's got beyond 180 degrees of separation right here. That's gonna allow that discus to stay long. When that discus starts creeping up through here, right? Through here, if that discus were right here, you're not gonna have a great orbit. Especially because what you want to do is you don't want to control the discus. You want to leave it in a position and just let it go, okay? You don't want to be at a point where you're forcing the discus too much. You just want to be long, especially you can see it through here. So what I noticed with him is he's got when essentially when he puts that, and this is a good cue that I would say, when he puts that discus back here, he's flexing his back. He's essentially squeezing his lat. He's squeezing his rear delt together, right? So that's what I would say is the best advice. So keep that back squeezed together right there. And then as you're turning, it's easy. It's easy to hold that discus back. You're not really trying. You're just holding a position that you already hit. So I would say get into this position in the wind by, like I said, by squeezing your rear delt and lat together. And then throughout this throw, you can just hold it there until you're ready to release. It's kind of like with the javelin. You set it back there, you hold it. So it's we don't typically look at the discus like that. The discus is tough because it's such a long lever. It's not like the shot put, but so you gotta hold it back there. Nothing is just you can't just keep it relaxed. And that's something that I've done wrong in my throws. That I've just kept it relaxed. You've gotta hold it in that same spot. And it's not going to be. Like I said, it's not necessarily an active holding, but it's just not letting it move from that position. Okay. So, like I said, main focuses out of the back are you're going to be on the ball of that left foot, and then you want this left hip to come through here, right, and then get the inside of your leg facing left. You want to make sure that gets all the way turned around, just like that. You want to hit that position. That left is as open as it's going to get right there. And then what's going to happen is that's going to pull that right leg off the ground. So all you do with that right leg is you just let it. You take it where the left leg is already taking it, right? So you accelerate in the direction that the left leg is already taking it. So you get that right leg, and he does it great on his throw. You get that right leg going out and around. Look at that, right there. Now he's in a great position to get that hip turned around in the middle. and he's got that discus back. That's just beautiful right there. So I would say this is exactly where you want to be out of the back.